Good afternoon, everybody. So I'd like to start off with a question, and I'd like you to all be as honest as possible about this question. Can you put your hand up if you are a person who feels you don't need to be thanked for what you do in your workplace? You don't need to be, valued for what you do. The salary is enough. You're happy with the salary, and that's all that you need. Please put your hand up. Is there any brave soul that would admit to that? So it's the opposite, I assume, is absolutely the case. We all need to be thanked. We all need to feel seen and celebrated way beyond just the salary and the core benefits of what we do. And that's the topic that I'm going to be talking about in the next 15 minutes. I'm going to be talking about when we do what's called social recognition, or simply thanking people in the workplace. It has an incredible impact on driving purpose, because you can make that thanking of somebody be aligned with the purpose of the company, be aligned with the strategic vision of the company. It creates human connection between human beings, and it just creates an extraordinary culture of belonging, generally speaking. I'm going to share with you some incredible new research that many of you have probably not seen yet. Just released in 2022, we concluded a global research study with Gallup. Does everybody know Gallup? Does everybody rely upon Gallup for engagement studies? We've done the world's first examination of this topic on a global scale, and the results will blow your mind in terms of the proof that simply saying thanks to people drives every strategic number that HR and all of us care about. It drives every strategic number. You're going to see some enormous numbers that surprise even Gallup themselves. And they've been doing this a long time, 2 decades or more. So that's my plan, to share with you some evidence, also share with you a couple of little stories, but let's begin. So who am I? I'm the co-author of 3 books on this topic. The first one was called The Building a Culture of Recognition. The next one was called The Power of Thanks. And the most recent book is called Making Work Human. How many people feel that they work today in an organization they would describe as truly human? So that's about a half of the room, and you should all be putting up your hands, given the audience that all of you are. So we still have plenty of work to do, and I think we all understand why that's an important goal, that we make our workplaces be more human. Because there was a time and a period when it was only necessary for us to come to work with our hands, with our skills. There was a time in the world when it was necessary for us to come to work, of course, with our hands and our minds, the power of our intellect. But the time is now, the human decade is absolutely here now, when we need to come to work with our whole human selves, where it's our hands, our minds, and our hearts that are coming to the workplace, that we're bringing our emotions, our full human self, because when we do that, we're the most creative, we're the most collaborative, we thrive in the workplace. That's what this book is entirely about. I've had the pleasure of working for 2 decades with some of the world's most admired companies that are achieving this. In this book, you'll find case studies from Cisco, consistently rated one of the best companies to work for in the world. You'll see case studies from LinkedIn. What are they doing to help their people really connect as humans within LinkedIn? Because, of course, that's what they do as a business, is they help us all connect professionally, but what are they doing within LinkedIn to help each other connect? You'll find all of that inside this book and more. A little bit about the human that's standing in front of you. I am the leader of a movement which is about bringing more humanity into the workplace. I've been doing this now in a conference that we run in the United States for about 7 years. We have thousands of people show up at this conference every year because they believe our workplaces should be more human. If you want to join this movement, I invite you, take a look at our website, workhuman.com, and you'll see we've had some very important people have joined us on this journey. Michelle Obama came in as an ambassador to sign a pledge that, yes, we should make our workplaces more human. Why did she do that? Because she believed that if our workplaces are more human, maybe our societies would be more human. Because our workplaces are one of the last remaining, most trusted places where we can actually create genuine change together. Over here in the bottom right-hand corner, you see Tamara Burke. Facilitated a panel with her. She's the original founder of #MeToo. So the original movement taking on big issues. So I'm the founder and involved in that movement. I stand on stage every year and I call out to everybody from the stage. It's a traditional call out. Does anybody know what I call out every year from the stage? Has anybody been to one of those conferences? Did I take a nod? But we start the morning every morning with a huge, hello, humans, just to remind each other that that's all that we are. We're humans, and we should let down our guard and talk to each other. It's been a great movement to be involved in. With my camera-shy husband, we have double twins, so that keeps us pretty busy. I'm Irish by background. That's not why I have Jemison there. I did work marketing Jemison around the world for quite a number of years. And I live in Spain. This is a house we've been renovating for the past couple of years, which is a torture in itself, anybody that's done construction in Spain. But I do thank God every day for the wonderful work-life balance I have in being able to swim in some natural swimming pools virtually every second day if I can, if I'm not traveling. So that's the human that I am. Back a little bit to the research. Let's have a look at the research that I promised you I would share. This is brand new, just released a couple of weeks, and it's from Gallup, working with Workhuman together. Somebody said to me earlier, what does this report summarize in terms of the current state of the workplace? Somebody says it summarizes work sucks at the moment. I think we have the hugest challenge, and we're not yet done. The tremors are still there in terms of the fundamental shift that's been caused upon workplace culture. We've succeeded transactionally to keep our businesses alive, but our cultures are suffering an enormous decay, an enormous earthquake. And you can see it right there in those numbers. Those are some pretty serious numbers that we need to address. So I'm hopefully going to help you and give you some ideas as to how to address those. I think the first and most important thing is that, hello, humans. We need more human connection. It matters now more than ever. I mean, has everybody experienced a moment like this at some point in your life with friends or family? Think about this moment if it is only delivered transactionally. What does this moment look like if it's delivered transactionally? Imagine yourself, you're sitting at your desk at home, you receive an email which has got a GIF or an app which has got a fire rotating on it. You receive a calendar invite that says we're having a s'more, what are these called, marshmallow baking, s'mores, I knew I would stumble over that word, s'mores baking session together, and here's a package that just arrived from FedEx with your s'mores. Please join the Zoom meeting at 8 o'clock, and we will all have a lovely human moment together. Is it going to be the same? Nowhere near the same. It will deliver transactionally for the business. You'll be able to tick a box and say, yes, we had a team meeting, we all got together, the FedEx arrived, the fire arrived in the app, but we won't have had the human connection moments that we all desperately need for creativity, for collaboration, for spontaneity. We have had 2 to 3 years of proof positive that you need both in a business. You need the transactional and you need the emotional human connection. So what are some of the most important ways? In Making Workhuman, the book, I talk about 3 really powerful words that we have discovered in working with the LinkedIns and the Ciscos of this world. The 3 words are to thank each other really often, because it's incredibly powerful when you thank people, the level of human relationship you create with somebody. We all just agreed, we all need to be thanked. When somebody thanks you, it creates an incredible human spark for both the giver and the receiver. The other key word is to talk to each other much more authentically. Forget the annual performance review. Please put it in the bin unless you absolutely need it for governance reasons. You need continuous conversation throughout the year where you're continuously talking about people's development, continuous talking. And the third element is to celebrate things together. We spend so much of our time at work together. We need to celebrate the birthdays, the births, the new houses, the training a marathon. Those are obvious life events that allow us to create a human connection moment. So thanking each other, talking to each other, and celebrating together. That's entirely what the book is about, and entirely what we discovered over the last 2 decades working, as I said, with some of the most admired companies. How can you create those connection moments? So let's talk a little bit about the first of those words, thank. And this is to give you just an idea of what I'm talking about. So we'll click in the...
The presentation was okay, but that thought you had?
When companies work human, people stay through anything.
Your quick thinking saved us. You saw something. It's changed everything. You may think we don't see you, but I'm so glad You were the one in the room with me.
When people are recognized, they feel seen. They feel they belong.
Good job.
Because without the human, it's just work.
This is what we're passionate about. Without the human, it's just work. Celebrating what we do on a daily basis, be it small things, be it big things. A colleague of mine who's presented at Workhuman Live to Dr. Robert Emmons from he's a psychology professor at the University of California. He talks about gratitude and thanks as being the ultimate performance-enhancing substance. And why is that? Because when you thank somebody, it actually has a chemical impact on your body. When you thank somebody, serotonin is released, dopamine is released. You actually have a physical moment when somebody says, I want to call out something special that you did, I saw you, I value it. It is a physical chemical moment. We have a limited capacity in our brains for positive thoughts and negative thoughts. So if we fill our brains with more positive thoughts, it pushes the negative thoughts out of our brains. It's contagious because that feeling is good, so we want more of it. And therefore, when we want more of it, it tends to build upon itself, and we end up giving more of it as a consequence because we ourselves want more of it. So this is a well-being conference. If you're looking for the ultimate performance-enhancing drug, thanking people is it. Look at the benefits it has. The emotional benefits, making people feel emotionally more positive, more alert, more alive, they're more joyful, which in turn impacts us physically. It's proven that your immune system is better if you give and receive more gratitude. You tend to have lower blood pressure, less aches and pains. And of course, that plays all the way through to your social interaction is more confident, more relaxed, more engaged with other people. Thanking people matters a lot. But unfortunately, we don't do enough of it. So I want to invite all of you to think of a moment from now on to the end of the conference. If there's somebody you interact with, please take a moment to thank them for being kind to me, thank them for a special story they shared, or simply let's thank REBA for organizing the event. Maybe a round of applause for the REBA organizers, who I'm sure are in the room, and the AV people, and Eugene for introducing me. Take a moment and try it. You'll be amazed at the impact. And here's back to some of that research that I said. From Gallup, who have 2 decades of looking at this data and its impact on engagement. I mean, look at those numbers. When people are thanked, 73% less likely to always or very often feel burned out. I'll let you read that yourself, but 4 times as likely to be engaged, 5 times as likely to feel connected to the company culture. These are very, very impressive numbers that I can tell you Gallup themselves were surprised and delighted to see. And here's some more. When not only do you celebrate thanking each other, but when we celebrate life events, as I mentioned, birthdays, buying a new house, graduating, also extremely strong impacts coming through. This is easy stuff that you all know you need because you all agreed you needed it. And it's easy stuff that you all know how to do. But what's lacking is your intentionalism to do it. You sit and you go, yeah, that's very important. I definitely need to thank a lot more people. But then you don't do it. 8 out of 10 workers will say that they have received no recognition in their workplace in the last 6 months. That, my friends, is appalling, given this level of data. So that's my call out to you. Study this data and let's become intentional about thanking each other in the workplace. The figures are enormous. If you have this sort of impact on a reduction in half of the likelihood for people to be leaving the company, you can see it plays all the way through into the financial figures. If you're now not replacing people, those are enormous amounts of money to be saving. AstraZeneca, a real-life case study, global organization headquartered here in the United Kingdom. What is one of the key insights from their case study of launching a Bravo recognition program about 2 years ago is that the right velocity of thanking people is about 1 to 2 thank yous every quarter. So you think about how often do you thank people in your family life? How often do you thank friends? Well, in the workplace, you need to be thanking people for what they're doing. Genuine, insightful thanks, 1 to 2 times per quarter, and it starts to have an impact. You'll see an AstraZeneca case, they saw the impact on retention, improved performance, increased engagement. That's the intentional level of volume that you need to get to. So that takes me to the last word, which is to celebrate. As I said, if you're looking for opportunities to be thanking people and creating human connection moments, celebrating is the easiest of all because these moments happen all of the time in our lives. So utilize and leverage those also to create human connection moments. It's really interesting too, I think today the ERG is such an incredibly powerful group to utilize. We find that one of it's almost like the magnet attraction of social recognition is the ERG groups that are celebrating, for example, this month Pride, celebrating Black History Month. They're utilizing our platform too to be celebrating the achievements and the milestones that they're achieving together. So ERGs is an enormously and powerful avenue for creating human connection together. So, time for a couple of questions, and my call out to you is be intentional about thanking people 1 to 2 times per quarter, and it can make a huge difference, as you saw, on creating human connection in the workplace. So thank you for listening, and if we have